Okay, so let's try this again, I guess. Welcome back, first and second period again. Hopefully, you have found these notes on my website. I did post on Canvas letting you guys know they'd be here again. They should be called Thursday notes, so this is for Thursday. Unfortunately, as you know, yesterday the PSAT thing did not work out, and so here we are once again, trying it again. So let's hope it actually works this time. I am aware that the test is tomorrow, Friday, and that unfortunately we will not be able to do the review game because, we're not in person. So I am going to go through the last slides for the notes for this week. It should not take very long. I think there's only 3, I think it's 4, but 2 of them are kind of small. We are going to look at some pictures. The pictures we look at are very important. I am going to point out a couple of things that will be on the test tomorrow. Please make sure to review your vocab from last week, Mesoamerica, and from this week. This is why we highlight our vocab so it's easy for you guys to find. The very first vocab word on the test, I think, well, it's not the first one, but it's like the earliest one we did, is like the Bering Sea land bridge. So remember how humans made it from Asia to the Americas at the end of the last ice age. That's going to be on the test tomorrow, so make sure you guys start reviewing there and then just work your way up to today. When you come into class on Friday, we will have the usual 10 or 15 minutes to let you guys review. Please take advantage of it. Please make sure to bring your Chromebook, make sure it is charged, and that's really going to be about it. Hopefully you guys will do well on this test. I hope that this crazy scheduling has not hurt our ability to do well on this test. But I'm sure you guys are going to do good. I have faith in you, and I trust you guys to make sure that you study a little bit, and we'll be done with it. So let's go ahead and get started with our stuff for today. These are still our targets, so you do not need to copy them again. But let's go ahead and get started with another 2-for-1 special, buy one, get one free. We have the last 2 explorers that we need to talk about, and both of them are actually important for us here in the southern part of the United States. The first one is Juan Ponce de Leon. Yes, I know that there is a street here in Atlanta called Ponce de Leon. It is named after him, but they say it wrong. It is Juan Ponce de Leon. He is from the city of Leon in Spain. That's where that comes from. De means of in Spanish, so he's Juan Ponce of Leon. He is a Spanish explorer and conquistador. This is actually very interesting. He worked with Columbus during his second voyage, so he was I wouldn't say a friend, but he was kind of a co-worker of Christopher Columbus. He also wanted to kind of get a little bit of fame for himself, and so he actually led the first official European expedition to a place that we today call Florida, and he actually named it La Florida, the flower. The myth is that he was searching for the Fountain of Youth, so they believed that there was this pond or waterfall or something that if they got the water, got in it, it would make them young again or something like that. It's probably a myth. Yes, he might have been keeping an eye out for it, but that's not why he went there. He went there to actually try to find another civilization to conquer, so that he could get some fame and glory for himself. His problem is he did not find it. He did, however, serve as the first governor of Puerto Rico. He did end up, I believe, getting killed in Florida while he was trying to found a new city there. So he lost his job in Puerto Rico, decided to go to Florida again, and eventually was, I believe, killed there. Now, Hernando de Soto is another famous explorer who actually came right through this area. If you look at the map next to Hernando de Soto on the bottom, you can actually see that his line of the places he traveled comes right up through Georgia, all through South Carolina, Tennessee, and back down into Georgia, not far from where Atlanta is today. We do not know exactly where Hernando de Soto died. He actually worked for Francisco Pizarro, so he was one of Francisco Pizarro from yesterday. He was one of his lieutenants. And after Pizarro conquered the Inca in what is today Peru, Hernando de Soto decided he wanted to go off and become famous as well. So you can see this recurring theme here. They keep wanting to become famous and powerful and rich, and it does not always work out for them. Hernando de Soto basically used the same plan that Pizarro used to gain control of the Inca. Pizarro captured the emperor, he captured some powerful people, and blackmailed the Inca into giving him a ton of money and not attacking him. It worked. Hernando de Soto, though, tries this same thing here in the southern part of the United States, and the problem is the people living here in the southern part of the United States are not all one people. There are hundreds of different tribes that do not like each other. And so he basically captures people from one tribe and then goes to another tribe and says, if you don't do what I want, I'm going to execute these people. And that tribe's like, well, do it. We don't care. They're not our people. We hate them too. Give them to us. We'll kill them. So he ends up getting himself and most of his men killed because he makes a mistake. He does not realize that these people are not going to care that he has hostages. They would kill the hostages themselves if they could. It's kind of like if you have someone here at the school that you really don't like, and your bully kidnaps them and says, if you don't do what I want, I'm going to beat up this person. You're like, well, go ahead, beat them up. I don't care. I don't like them either. So it does not work out for Hernando de Soto. We do not know where he died. There are a couple of theories, different locations that he might have died in Alabama, maybe in Mississippi. We are actually still looking for the site where his body may have been left. They believe that he was buried either near or in a pond. It's possible that they actually dug a large pit, buried him, and then had it filled in with water. So there's a possibility that he was buried underneath an artificial pond. It's also possible he was buried in or near a river. And so there are still archaeologists, actually a couple of friends of mine, are actually archaeologists that are actually out looking for his body and trying to find where he was. And so it's very interesting. They think they're getting very close to actually discovering where he might be buried, which I think would be really cool. I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next slide, so if you need to pause it, go ahead and pause it. If not, let's go ahead and move on. Let's go ahead and talk about the Old World versus the New World. See, I told you some of these slides would be pretty short. These are two of our vocab words, and they are very important because they are still used today. We are going to see these words again several times throughout the rest of the semester, and people still use them today. If you ever hear someone on the news referring to old world politics, they are referring to the way things are done in Europe, Africa, or Asia. If you hear someone referring to the old world, they are usually referring to the Europe, Africa, or Asia regions. The New World would be North America and South America. Now, I know the map is also showing Australia and Southern Africa, and yes, they are kind of technically the New World, but for our purposes, and for what we use in the class, and for what you will see on the news, it's going to be North and South America. That's basically it. So the Old World is Europe, Africa, and Asia. The New World is the Americas, North and South America. Those are two words you are going to see for the rest of your life, so please make sure that you memorize those. Make sure that you mark them or highlight them. Do what you need to do. I promise you those are going to show up on that test on Friday, and I can promise you, because I have taught this class many times, I can promise you we're going to see these words again multiple times later this semester. So go ahead and memorize those because you're going to need them for the rest of your life. Okay, last big slide, and then we're going to look at some pictures, and then we're going to do one small one, and then we're done. This is actually going to answer some of your questions. The Treaty of Tordesillas is actually a treaty or an agreement that the Pope, the head of the Catholic Church, created between the countries of Spain and Portugal. Basically, Spain and Portugal are arguing about who should get all of this new land. And the Pope gets so tired of hearing it. The story is that he grabs a sword, grabs a globe, and cuts it in half with his sword and gives one half to the Spanish representatives and one half to the Portuguese representatives. Now, I cannot tell you if that's true or not. That's just the story. That's the myth. But it is true that they did sign a treaty splitting the world between Spain and Portugal. And if you notice, if you look at the map, if you notice in South America there is a blue area where today Brazil is. That is why they speak Portuguese in Brazil, not Spanish. The Portuguese controlled it instead of the Spanish. Now, there's a bunch of problems with this. It ignores everybody, not just the natives in the New World, who are mostly dead at this point, but look at Europe. Europe, which has hundreds of countries at this point, and it has several dozen larger ones too. They gave Europe to Portugal. They gave France and Italy and Britain and England and Ireland, Germany, all those places, they gave them to Portugal too. And so I'm sure those people were probably going, excuse me, hello, we're already living here, what are you doing? And it's not like some of those countries aren't Catholic either, so I'm not sure exactly what the Pope was doing. Maybe he was just trying to get people to leave him alone. I don't know. But let me tell you, a lot of people are not happy about this. And I want to point out, this is not going to actually last very long. Yes, they are going to use this for a while, but let's be honest. I mean, obviously, North America, even though it says claimed by Spain, they don't speak Spanish in Canada. They speak English and French. Spanish is not the official language here in the U.S. That would be English, so obviously we were not colonized by Spain. This is not the case, and if you look at the rest of the map, it's not the case either. China, they don't speak Portuguese in China, or Japan, or Australia, or India, or the Middle East. So it's not going to last very long. It is important to talk about because it does cause some issues. Obviously, this is going to cause a lot of tension. It also is the cause for some of our languages. Again, they speak Portuguese in Brazil, not Spanish, and this is actually why. This is what caused that. So, we're going to go ahead and move on. If you need to pause it, feel free to go ahead and pause it. But let's go ahead and move on to a picture. This is the Columbian Exchange. This is our last vocab word for the unit. We do have one small slide left to go, but this is really about it. This is super, super, super important. This is going to be on the test. And I don't just mean this word, because the word is on the test. The picture. The top picture is actually the chart on the test you guys are going to use to answer 3 of the questions. The Columbian Exchange is named after Christopher Columbus, because he's kind of the one who starts this. The Columbian Exchange is the exchange of diseases, ideas, animals, crops, so plants, and populations between the New World and the Old World following the voyage to the Americas of Christopher Columbus in 1492. If you look at the picture, the top picture, you're going to see a lot of different things that did not exist in both places. So for example, in the New World, there were no citrus fruits. There were no grapes, no bananas, no onions, no coffee, no honeybees, no cows, sheep, pigs, or horses, no wheat, rice, barley, or oats, no peaches or pears, no olives. None of those things existed in North and South America. They had never seen them before. They did not exist here. Those were found in Europe, Asia, and Africa only. Also notice the diseases: smallpox, influenza, which is the flu, typhus, the measles, malaria, diphtheria, and whooping cough also did not exist in North and South America until it was brought over from the Old World. On the other side, corn, tomatoes, potatoes, peanuts, beans, cacao, which is like the stuff they make chocolate with, pineapples, vanilla, tobacco, peppers, pumpkins, turkey, squash, and sweet potatoes did not exist in the Old World. The Europeans, Africans, and Asians had never seen any of these things. They did not exist in the Old World. They were only found in North and South America until the Columbian Exchange brought them to the rest of the world. When you guys think of Ireland, their number one product is potatoes. Potatoes are not from Europe. They did not exist there until they were brought over during this exchange. Think about some of the places in Central and South America. Sugarcane and bananas are huge. Coffee is huge in South America. That is a huge crop that they grow. It did not exist here until it was brought over. Livestock like cattle, sheep, pigs, and horses, things that you still see here today, did not exist here until they were brought over from the Old World. Remember, North and South America were cut off by that land bridge disappearing at the end of the last ice age when sea levels rose. That means all of these plants and animals that evolved or were produced after that did not exist to be here. Plants like corn, beans, peppers, bananas, things like that did not exist when the Ice Age ended. We had not created them. Corn was originally just a type of grass that we purposely bred with other types of grass to make it larger and larger and larger until you could actually eat it. We created corn. And so when the Ice Age ended, that did not exist yet. We had not done that. And so none of these things were created to be here in the first place. So, and I think that's just so crazy. But this chart will be on the test, and the questions are going to ask you using this chart to see what existed where. So make sure you read those questions very carefully and use this chart to answer them, especially the one about diseases. Read the list of diseases before you answer the question. I'm going to go ahead and move on to the last slide. We're going to look at one more picture before we do, though. So if you need to pause it, go ahead and pause it. This is the picture again. This is the one that's going to be on the test, so please make sure you guys check it out. Please very carefully read through it before you answer those questions on the test. The answers are here. You just have to pay attention and find them. This is another example of the Columbian Exchange. This is just a little bit more detailed. We do not have a whole lot of time to go through it, but it's basically the same thing as before. It just gives a little bit more information. We can talk about this later. We will actually talk about this more next week when we talk about what they're doing with all these new resources they have and what they're doing with all this money that they're going to get from all this, the gold. Okay, last one for today, I think. Hang on. Yep, last one for today. The effects. So good things for the Columbian Exchange. We get new plants, new animals, new foods, new technology. That's good. But on the bad side, because there's always got to be something bad, the Columbian Exchange also spread a lot of diseases, a lot of invasive species that damage the environment. We still have problems with this today. Certain animals do not belong in certain areas, and so this is a problem. We still have this problem today. This causes both environmental damage, but also it causes damage to other animal species that cannot handle it. That's bad. That's very bad. We have to be very careful about invasive species because they can completely destroy an environment if we are not careful. The other bad thing here is obviously the massive population decline in the New World because of diseases like smallpox. Smallpox killed 95% of all the people in the New World, all the natives. And so this is a major, major problem. And again, the Columbian Exchange is very good, but it's also very bad. And so just like many things in your life, many things in the world, there is good and there is bad, and it goes together. And unfortunately, there is no separating it. There is no all good, there is no all bad. Everything in this world has some good and some bad. And we just have to learn to live with it. Shades of gray, as they say. This is the last slide for today. Again, please make sure that you review your vocab words for the test tomorrow. Again, I am, sorry that we cannot do the review game. I wish we could. I just have no way to give it to you guys on this short a notice. I was not planning on you guys not being in the classroom today. They did not tell us until fourth period, I guess fourth period on Wednesday this was going to be happening. So this is kind of short notice. Please make sure you get all these notes copied into your notebook. Make sure that you review your vocab words from last week and this week for the test tomorrow. Make sure you arrive on time. Bring your Chromebook. Make sure it is charged. And that's really about it. If you have some time left over, go ahead and work on that worksheet that I gave you the other day, the Portrait of Tenochtitlan. Hopefully the internet's good enough. It does require a pretty good internet connection for it to work. If you're having trouble, you can also try it at home. Maybe a better internet. I don't know. And see what happens. Hopefully it works for you guys. It might just take a few minutes to load up, so please be patient. Don't lose your temper or anything. Just let it load up and see. I think you guys will enjoy it. It's a very good, it's a very interactive assignment, and I hope you guys enjoyed being able to see what Mexico City looks like today versus what it looked like, 600 years ago. And hopefully you guys will enjoy that. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Be careful, be safe. It's supposed to rain a little bit today. It might rain a little bit tomorrow as well, so take that into account. And I will see you guys in class on Friday to take that Unit 4 post test. Have a great rest of your day, and I will see you guys soon.